Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. The air inside the dimly lit bar felt heavy, thick with tension, secrets, and something far more dangerous than either of the men sitting across from each other wanted to admit. Adam Newman didn't belong in a place like this anymore. Not after everything he had been through, not after everything he had fought to become. And yet here he was, sitting across from Riza, a man whose reputation traveled faster than whispers and lingered longer than regret. Riza leaned back in his chair, his fingers tapping slowly against the table as if he were counting down to something only he could see. "You took your time, Adam," he said, his voice low but sharp. Adam didn't flinch, he couldn't afford to. "I came," Adam replied calmly, "that's what matters." A smirk curled across Riza's lips. "Oh, it matters more than you think." For a moment, neither man spoke. The silence stretched, long, suffocating. Adam's eyes flicked around the room, scanning exits, faces, shadows, old instincts, ones he thought he'd buried. But danger had a way of waking up parts of you wished stayed asleep. "Let's not play games," Adam said finally. "You asked for this meeting, say what you need to say." Riza leaned forward now, elbows on the tables. "You went to Vegas," he said. "You stirred things up, you asked questions." Adam's jaw tightened. "And," he challenged. "And now," Riza continued softly, "you've made yourself a problem." That word hung in the air. Problem. Adam had been called a lot of things in his life. But he knew exactly what that word meant, coming from someone like Riza. It meant danger. Real danger. "Then solve it," Adam said, his voice steady but cold. "Tell me what you want." Riza chuckled under his breath. "Oh, Adams, it's not about what I want anymore." And that's when everything shifted. Because suddenly, a chair scraped behind Adam. Too close. Too fast. Adam turned slightly, just enough to catch the movement out of the corner of his eye. A man. A hand inside his jacket. And then, a gun. The metallic click echoed louder than it should have. Time slowed. Every muscle in Adam's body went rigid. Across from him, Riza didn't move. Didn't react. Just watched. "You see," Riza said quietly, "you walked into this thinking you were in control." Adam's breathing steadied even as his pulse thundered in his ears. "I still am," Adam replied. But even he knew that wasn't entirely true. The man behind him stepped closer, the gun now unmistakably aimed. "Here's the thing," Riza continued. "Men like you always think you can outsmart the situation." Adam's eyes narrowed. "And men like you," he shot back, "always underestimate who you're dealing with." For the first time, Riza's expression faltered just slightly. And that was all Adam needed. Because he didn't wait. Didn't hesitate. He moved. Fast. The chair scraped violently as Adam twisted, knocking the gunman's arm off balance just enough. A shot rang out. Chaos exploded. People screamed. Glass shattered. Adam lunged forward, grabbing the man's wrist, forcing the gun upward as another shot fired into the ceiling. Riza stood abruptly now, his calm demeanor gone. "Enough," he barked. But it was already too late. The room had descended into panic. Adam shoved the gunman back, sending him crashing into a table before stepping away, his chest rising and falling with controlled intensity. His eyes locked on Riza. "This is your idea of a conversation?" Adam demanded. Riza adjusted his jacket, regaining composure piece by piece. "You should consider yourself lucky," he said coldly. "That was just a warning." Adam let out a humorless laugh. "A warning," he repeated. "You brought a gun to make a point." Riza stepped closer now, lowering his voice. "You don't belong in this world anymore, Adams. Walk away while you still can." Adam held his gaze, unblinking. "I don't walk away from threats." For a second, it felt like everything might erupt again. But instead, Riza smiled. Not warmly, not kindly, but like a man who knew something Adam didn't. "We'll see," he said simply. And just like that, it was over. Or at least, that's what it looked like. But Adam knew better. Because warnings like that, they weren't endings, they were beginnings. Across town, a very different kind of tension was unfolding. Quiet, fragile, and far more personal. Mariah Copeland stood outside the door, her hand hovering just inches from the handle. She had been here before, more times than she could count. But this time felt different. Because this time, she didn't know if she would be welcomed in. Inside that apartment was Tessa, her wife, or at least the woman who used to be. The distance between them hadn't happened overnight. It had been slow, painful, built on misunderstandings, silence, and wounds neither of them had known how to heal. Mariah closed her eyes briefly, gathering what little courage she had left. Then, she knocked. The sound echoed louder than it should have. A few seconds passed. Then footsteps. The door opened. And there she was. Tessa. For a moment, neither of them spoke. They just looked at each other, taking in everything that had changed, and everything that hadn't. "Hi," Mariah said softly. Tessa hesitated. "Hi." That single word carried more weight than it should have. "I know this isn't a good time," Mariah continued quickly, "but I needed to see you." Tessa leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. "Why?" It wasn't cold, but it wasn't warm either. And Mariah felt it. Every inch of it. "Because I messed up," she admitted, "and I know I can't just fix everything by showing up, but I had to try." Tessa studied her carefully. "You've said that before," she pointed out. Mariah nodded. "I know, and I didn't follow through. I shut down. I pushed you away when you were trying to help me." Her voice cracked slightly. "But I'm not doing that anymore." Something flickered in Tessa's eyes. Not forgiveness. Not yet. But something. "Then what are you doing?" Tessa asked. Mariah took a breath. "I'm choosing us," she said, "if there's still an us left." Silence. Long. Heavy. Tessa looked away for a moment, her expression softening just slightly. "You hurt me," she said quietly. "I know. You made me feel like I didn't matter." Mariah swallowed hard. "That was never true." "But it felt true," Tessa replied. And that hit deeper than anything else. Because feelings didn't care about intentions. They only cared about impact. "I can't undo that," Mariah said, "but I can show you that you do matter every day if you let me." Tessa exhaled slowly. "This isn't something that gets fixed overnight." "I know," Mariah said quickly. "I'm not asking for that, I'm just asking for a chance." Another pause. Another moment where everything could go either way. Then, Tessa stepped back. Just slightly. Not fully inviting her in. But not shutting the door either. "We can talk," she said. And for Mariah, that was everything. Meanwhile, across Genoa City, Nick Newman was doing what he always did when things got too complicated. He was running. Not literally, but emotionally, mentally, trying to stay one step ahead of problems that refused to stay behind him. He sat alone, staring at his phone, his mind racing through a dozen different crises all at once. Adam, Victor, family drama that never seemed to end. And now, new trouble. The kind that didn't go away just because you ignored it. Nick ran a hand through his hair, frustration building. "No matter what I do," he muttered under his breath. It wasn't enough. It was never enough. Because every time he thought he had things under control, something else fell apart. His phone buzzed. A message. He glanced down. And instantly, his expression changed. Because whatever was on that screen, it wasn't good. Not even close. Nick stood up quickly, tension snapping through him. "Of course," he muttered. "Because of course. Just when things couldn't get worse. They did. And deep down, Nick knew the truth. He could run. He could try to fix things. He could tell himself he had control. But trouble always found him. Nick didn't waste another second. He grabbed his jacket and moved fast, the message still burned into his mind like a warning he couldn't ignore. Adam's in trouble. That was all it said. No details. No explanation. But Nick didn't need more than that. Because when it came to Adam, trouble never meant something small. Back at the bar, the chaos had died down, but the tension hadn't. Adam stood still for a moment after Riza left, his breathing finally steady but his mind racing. A warning. That's what Riza called it. But Adam knew better. Warnings like that didn't come without a next step. And whatever that next step was, it wasn't going to be simple. He glanced at the shattered glass on the floor, the overturned chairs, the frightened faces still lingering in the corners. This wasn't just intimidation. This was a message. And it was loud. Adam reached into his pocket, pulling out his phone. For a second, he hesitated. Then, he made the call. Nick, he said the moment the line connected. There was no greeting. No small talk. Just urgency. I need you. Across town, Mariah sat on the edge of Tessa's couch, her hands clasped tightly together. The room felt unfamiliar. Not because she hadn't been there before, but because of what it now represented. Distance. Pain. A version of their relationship that had been fractured. Tessa stood near the window, arms crossed again, but softer this time, less defensive, more uncertain. I don't know where to start, Tessa admitted quietly. Mariah looked up. Start anywhere, she said, I'll listen. That was new. Because before, Mariah had been so caught up in her own pain that she hadn't truly heard Tessa. And they both knew it. Tessa took a slow breath. When everything started falling apart, I felt like I lost you, she said, even when you were right in front of me. Mariah's eyes filled, but she didn't interrupt. You shut me out, Tessa continued. You stopped talking, you stopped letting me in, and I kept trying, but it felt like I was the only one fighting for us. I'm so sorry, Mariah whispered. I know, Tessa replied, but sorry doesn't erase what happened. I'm not asking it to, Mariah said quickly. I want to do better. Tessa turned to face her fully now. And what does that look like? Mariah swallowed, then answered honestly. It looks like me showing up, she said. Even when it's hard, it looks like me being honest, even when I'm scared. It looks like me choosing you every single day. The sincerity in her voice was undeniable. And for the first time, Tessa believed it. Not completely, not fully, but enough to consider the possibility. I need time, Tessa said softly. You have it, Mariah replied without hesitation. I need space to trust that this isn't just another moment, that it's real. It is, Mariah said, and I'll prove it however long it takes. Tessa studied her for a long moment. Then slowly, she nodded. And just like that, something shifted. Not fixed, not healed, but started. Nick arrived at the bar just as the last of the commotion was settling. He spotted Adam immediately. Of course he did. Adam always stood out even in chaos. Nick walked up quickly, his expression tight. What the hell happened, he demanded. Adam gave a dry laugh. Good to see you two. Adam. The tone was enough. Adam sighed. I met with Riza, he said. Nick's eyes darkened instantly. And it went exactly how you'd expect. Nick glanced around, taking in the damage. Gunshots, he asked. Oh yeah. Nick exhaled sharply, running a hand through his hair. Unbelievable. Adam crossed his arms. He wanted to send a message. And Nick pressed. Adam met his gaze. That I should stay out of things that don't concern me. Nick scoffed. When has that ever stopped you? Adam smirked slightly. Exactly. For a brief moment, there was something almost familiar between them. Brotherly. Unspoken. But it didn't last. Adam, this isn't a game, Nick said seriously. You're dealing with dangerous people. I know that, Adam replied, better than anyone's. Then act like it, Nick shot back, walk away. Adam shook his head. I can't. Why not? Because whatever this is, it's bigger than just me, Adam said. And if I don't figure it out, someone else gets hurt. Nick stared at him. Frustration, concern, anger. All tangled together. You always do this, Nick said quietly. You take everything on like it's your responsibility to fix. And you do, Adam countered. Nick didn't answer. Because he couldn't. Because Adam wasn't wrong. That's the problem, Nick finally said. We both think we can outrun it, control it, fix it. Adam's expression hardened. And we can't. The realization hung between them. Heavy. Unavoidable. Nick shook his head slightly. So what's your plan, he asked. Adam looked toward the door where Riza had disappeared earlier. I find out what he's really after, he said, and I stop it. Nick let out a humorless laugh. Simple, huh? Adam didn't smile. Not even close. Later that night, Genoa City felt quieter. But not calmer. Because beneath the surface, everything was shifting. Mariah walked out into the cool night air, her heart still heavy, but lighter than it had been. It wasn't fixed. Not yet. But for the first time in a long time, there was hope. Real hope. She looked back at Tessa's apartment one last time before heading off, determination settling in her chest. She wasn't going to lose this. Not again. At the same time, Nick stood outside, staring at the city lights, his thoughts circling endlessly. No matter what he did, no matter how hard he tried to stay ahead of it, trouble always caught up. With Adam, with his family, with everything. He exhaled slowly, tension still coiled tight in his chest. You can't escape it, he muttered to himself. And deep down, he knew that was true. And somewhere in the shadows of the city, Riza watched, waiting, planning, because the warning had been delivered. And the next move, that would be something far more dangerous. Something that would test every one of them, push them further than they were ready for, and change everything.